As the Democrats are facing pressure to stick together to pass their COVID relief package, President Joe Biden has now made a pretty aggressive pitch to the Senate Democrats, telling them to get behind the $1.9 trillion bill. The President Biden has told the Democrats in a virtual meeting on Tuesday that they all need to accept some provisions that they might not like but are important for the American nation. Now, Joe Biden has urged for the Democrats to come together behind the bill, saying that they need to show voters that they can accomplish this achievement, and also noted that the bill has bipartisan support outside of the Congress. Now, this meeting came even as the Republicans have stuck to their guns and have pledged that they will fight the legislation in every way that they can.
This is not a year ago. We're making extraordinary progress with the rollout of the vaccines. The economy is struggling to get back on its feet and did not ever become as bad as the doomsday projections at various points a year ago. So we think this package should have been negotiated on a bipartisan basis, like the last 5 bills were done. So we'll be fighting this in every way that we can. It is my hope that at the end, Senate Republicans will unanimously oppose it, just like House Republicans did. And I think it's noteworthy that over in the House, the only thing bipartisan about the proposal was the opposition to it.
Now, so far, the COVID-19 relief package has made it through the U.S. House of Representatives with 0 Republicans voting in favor of it. Now, all eyes are on the Senate, where the Majority Leader Chuck Schumer could bring the COVID-19 package to the floor sometime this week. Now, the bill includes direct checks, aid to small businesses, funding for schools, state and local governments. Meanwhile, on the vaccination front, President Biden has also said that the United States is now on track to have enough vaccine supplies to inoculate every American adult by the end of May. This is 2 months before the earlier deadline that had been set.
Here's what all this means. We're now on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May. Let me say that again. When we came into office, the prior administration had contracted for not nearly enough vaccine to cover adults in America. We rectified that. About 3 weeks ago, we were able to say that we'll have enough vaccine supply for adults by the end of July. And I'm pleased to announce today, as a consequence of the stepped-up process that I've ordered and just outlined, this country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America by the end of May. By the end of May. That's progress, important progress.
Now, the announcement has come as the White House is looking to speed up the production of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine and also reach herd immunity at the earliest. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is happening in the United States in terms of the aid package, we are joined in by our correspondent Nick Harper, who is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much indeed, Nick, for joining us on this broadcast on WION. And let me begin by asking you this $1.9 trillion package. Joe Biden is urging all the Democrats in the Senate to get behind it. Now, this bill, we're given to understand, has already been passed in the House of Representatives, the Congress. Now, what's likely to happen in the Senate?
Well, obviously, Joe Biden is hoping that it will pass in the Senate, but it faces potentially some very stiff opposition. Bear in mind that the Senate is made up of 100 senators. 50 of them are Democrats, 50 of them are Republicans. To get a simple majority, Joe Biden needs every single Democrat to vote for this bill, bearing in mind that it seems every Republican will vote against it, and then the tie-break vote would come down to the Vice President, Kamala Harris. That is why we're seeing this incredible outreach from Joe Biden. He held a video conference with various Democrats during the course of Tuesday. A day earlier on Monday, he was making phone calls to Democrats. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, he'll be speaking to the whole caucus. He needs to tell them that this is the bill that needs to get passed, and therefore ensure he's trying to get every single senator on board. He needs to ensure that he will get this vote, because the White House is saying that they have a ticking timeline up until March the 14th. That is the date when about 11 million Americans lose their extra unemployment benefits, and Joe Biden quite simply wants to get this deal done by then.
Absolutely, indeed. And the other aspect is how quickly the United States is able to, in fact, get every adult in America vaccinated. Now, Joe Biden claims that he would be able to get it done by the end of May. Is that realistic?
Well, he's saying that he will have vaccines available for every single American by the end of May. So the population here, almost 330 million, every single one of them will have a vaccine available by that date. But of course, it will take some time longer to get every single one of them inoculated. With these double-dose vaccines that are being used in the US, the Pfizer one, the Moderna one, we've just had the Johnson & Johnson one, that's a single-shot vaccine approved. But those double doses, we've only got about 6% of the US population who've so far received both of those doses and therefore are fully inoculated. The president is clear in saying that we will have the vaccines available by the end of May. That supply will be ready. It will be in storehouses ready to go, but it will take longer to get shots into arms. And there has been some considerable opposition from some people in the US. If you look at some surveys, there's a good number of Americans who are simply saying they will not get vaccinated. They feel that this whole vaccination process, the approval of it, has been rushed through, and therefore they feel these vaccines aren't safe. So there is opposition, right. And the worry is that if there are millions of Americans who don't get inoculated, the US simply won't achieve herd immunity.
Absolutely, indeed. Now, the United States has been carrying out the immunization program for almost about since the month of December. At this point of time, is there any data to show at all that the COVID-19 infection in the United States is slowing down because of the vaccines?
Well, not in terms of the actual vaccine itself, but there is considerable data which suggests that things are moving at least in the right direction. If you look at the 2-week average for the number of new cases, that's down by about 21%. The number of deaths over the last 2 weeks is down about 17%. So things are moving in the right direction. However, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention here in the US, is warning that there's still a long road ahead. Potentially a fourth wave of infections could be around the corner. And they made that warning on the same day that 2 states reduced their restrictions. Texas and Mississippi both said that businesses can now be fully open, and the mask mandates that they had put in place have now been removed. So the CDC is saying people should not be removing restrictions, and here we have 2 states doing just that. That, of course, is causing concern. The worry is that more state governors may follow suit and do similar things. So yes, the data suggests that things are improving. The vaccines are certainly getting out there. Joe Biden is signalling optimism, but there is some fear that if restrictions are reduced and reduced too early, those new cases and the number of deaths may surge once again.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Nick Harper, for joining us and getting us all those updates there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.